Welcome to Insights into Insurance with Tom Sorensen of Americana Insurance Group. All information provided is educational in nature and not intended to be acted upon without first consulting the appropriately licensed professional.
It's Insights to Insurance with Americana Insurance's Tom Sorensen. And Tom, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Paul.
Now, Tom, I know we have a guest on the phone, so if it's all right, we'll just jump right into the email.
Let's do it.
All right, the listener email. Hello, Insights to Insurance radio show. I have some commercial vehicle exposure, and the other day the topic came up about a DOT safer report with some of my peers. They were talking about how it can affect insurance. I have to admit, I don't know what it is. Can you help me? Jeremy.
Jeremy, I think we can. I have actually contacted a special guest of mine. It's Daniel Tomjack, risk management consultant with Risk Management Services with Nationwide Agribusiness. Boy, that's a long title, Dan. Dan, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, I am doing great. And you called me sir. Oh, boy, sounds like I'm in trouble. Okay. Dan, how about if you tell us about yourself and why you would be one to help me answer Jeremy's question?
Well, I've been employed for the last 5 years with Nationwide Insurance. My role is a risk management consultant, providing consultative services to our clients. Actually, I have 22 years experience consulting in the ag industry. DOT consulting, I participated in DOT audits. I've conducted truck inspections, DOT driver training, inspector training, DOT hazmat training.
Well, it sounds like you should be able to answer Jeremy's question then.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah.
It is a good question.
It is a good question. Well, then let's just cut to the chase. And Dan, what is a DOT Safer Report?
Well, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration instituted this program. It gives us a continuous evaluation of a motor carrier's performance. In the past, they only looked at your performance during a compliance review, so it was kind of a spot snapshot. With the SAFER system, it's a continual analysis of their performance.
Okay,
so it targets enforcement to the folks that need the help.
Okay, well then, so what's in this report? Is it go by a score? How does that work?
Well, there are 7 different categories that they rate you on: unsafe driving, which would include speeding, lane change violations, texting, distracted driving, which is becoming a big issue, seatbelt violations. There's a crash indicator if they're involved in a crash, hours of service regulations for drivers, vehicle maintenance, controlled substance, hazmat, and driver fitness. And the way it works is I kind of like to joke that every time you have the opportunity to interact with the DOT, it generates part of this score, both good and bad.
Oh, okay. So it's rated off of that. So is it a scoring system like A, B, and C, D, E, F, or is it a 1 through 100, 1 through 10? How does that work?
Well, they assign a weighting to the violation. So, for instance, it's all based on the possibility that this violation could cause a crash with serious injury or fatality. So, weight ratings are not the same for each category. Obviously, unsafe driving, speeding has a higher rating than maybe another category. But they rate it on the possibility that it could cause a crash. And then if it's an out-of-service violation, let's say I'm driving a truck with a bald tire, that would be an out-of-service violation. There's an extra weighting that goes on to that. And so they rank this kind of a percentile, and then they compare you with other companies of similar size in this category and generate a score.
Oh, okay. Understandable. Is this public information, or is this just information for the DOT number holder, I should say?
It's kind of for both. It started for the DOT to evaluate each motor carrier. Each motor carrier can go online and register with their DOT number, and then they have access to their full report, which includes their scoring, all the violations. Let's say I have a ticket that I want to contest. I don't think it was accurate. If I'm registered, I can actually go online and make sure that that's an accurate score for my motor carrier number. For public information, parts of it are public. You can go onto their website, type in a DOT number or the name of the carrier, and parts come up. What I see as the public is actually every truck inspection they've had over the last 24 months is public information. I don't see the driver. I do see the plate number on the truck, and if any violation was scored, that is public knowledge.
Do you actually see the score as a public person?
No, the scores, I believe, are for private, only if you've registered as the owner of that DOT number.
Okay. So you have a bad report. What can happen?
Well, it shows trends, and if your score gets high enough, we call it you went into alert status. Again, it's on a 1 to 100% rating. If your score gets above 65 percentile for unsafe driving, you're in alert status. For vehicle maintenance and hazmat haulers, it's an 80% threshold. Once you get into alert status, they have different levels of intervention, and it can start with a warning letter from the DOT, hey, your score's creeping up, we're a little concerned here. If it continues, it gets higher, they can actually do targeted intervention where they can stop every truck with your name on it. Trucks rolling through the scale with a higher alert status score, those are the trucks that will be flagged for pullover, let's do an inspection. So really, I think that's a good part. It's the folks that need the help will get the attention from DOT.
Can they actually shut you down as a trucking outfit?
Well, before we get to that point, Tom, they're starting to stop every truck on the road. Eventually it will come to an on-site performance audit or enforcement audit in your office. Those are never any fun. And ultimately, if it's bad enough, they can revoke your operating authority. That is rare, but it has been done.
Which would be basically put you out of business, at least for a while. So
I personally worked with a hazmat carrier in another state, and their score was bad, and basically they earned that score, and the DOT shut them down for a period of time until they got things back in order.
Okay. Well, Dan, we're going to take a 30-second break here, and we're going to come back and find out what type of commercial companies does this Safer Report work with, or who is involved with it. Okay? We'll see you in a little bit.
We'll be back with more insights into insurance with Americana Insurance's Tom Sorensen right after this.
Take us out to your ball game. Take us out to the crowd. We sell insurance for most anything. Who'd have guessed that the A-Team could sing for its root? Root for good coverage. Americana's more than a name. 4X3-777-2000 for the insurance A-Team.
You'll be singing too when you see what the A-Team and Americana Insurance can do for you.
Let's take it from the top again. I think the rest of you were out of tune.
We're back here on Insights into Insurance with Americana Insurance's Tom Sorensen. And Tom, we have Dan on the phone. He's a risk management consultant with Risk Management Services at Nationwide Agribusiness, and we're talking about DOT Safer Reports.
Yeah, and it sounds like Dan should just only be working with agribusiness businesses, but he does know about the DOT Safer Report, which involves a lot of commercial type of businesses, just so we understand that. But back to Jeremy's question, Dan, is to try to help him, because I don't know what type of commercial business he does. But so what type of commercial companies would pertain to a Safer Report?
Okay. This report is tied to a company's DOT number. So any commercial business in the state of Minnesota, if you're a commercial carrier and your gross vehicle weight rating is over 10,000 pounds, then you have to have a DOT number. When you request the DOT number or register with the DOT, that starts generating this report. It is tied to a DOT number. A private carrier like a farmer, hauling only for themselves, would be exempt from DOT numbers.
Okay. Now, if there were somebody that was grain trucking company, then they would probably have a DOT number, correct?
Yes. If they're hauling as a business, hauling for someone else, hauling for hire.
Okay.
The term hauling in commerce.
Okay. How about your everyday, like a plumber or a fleet of vans, let's say? Is that part of that report?
Well, it's a definition of a commercial motor vehicle is triggered by the vehicle's weight rating, the tag stamped on the vehicle. So as we talked about in Minnesota, if I look at a small utility truck or van, the gross vehicle weight rating stamped on the door tag, if it's under 10,000 pounds, it's not a commercial motor vehicle, and they don't need a DOT number and don't need a CDL, just a driver's license to drive it. So they would not be part of this system.
Okay.
Now a larger service truck, or where we see some folks get caught up, is I may have a service truck that's under 10,000 pounds, but then I hook a trailer behind it. It's the combination now that puts me over, and it could be a commercial motor vehicle at that point.
Okay. Well, and the name of our radio show is Insights into Insurance. So let's talk about insurance. Okay. This pertains to insurance, and Jeremy's question is, how and what does this insurance have to do with the report? And
anytime with any insurance company, anytime an underwriter is looking at a potential client, they're thinking of offering coverage to a client, they're trying to evaluate the risk involved. What type of business is it? What are the exposures that we're being asked to cover? So an insurance company would look at a DOT Safer report. It's going to give me their registration. How many trucks do they have? How many drivers? How many miles do they travel in a given year? And what are they hauling? Is it hazmat or passenger vehicle? All of those have an effect on the potential risk. And then by going a little deeper into the scoring, we look at how are they performing compared to industry standards. Obviously, a company that has a poor report or showing an increased number of out-of-service violations on roadside inspections, they would be a higher risk to take a look at that company.
Which could in tune either they could be denied coverage or they could cost them more money. Just almost kind of like a work comp. Yeah, so.
Absolutely. It's just a way to evaluate the potential risk of a client.
And I know for a fact that even my work comp carriers look at this report to see how they are operating. If they're operating and have a good Safer report, DOT, it means that they're probably a good management company as far as other things with their employees too.
Absolutely. And in my role as a risk management consultant, I look at my clients' scores periodically.
Yep.
And if I start to see a trend creeping up in a certain area, then that tells me, hey, let's flag this, let's get out here, maybe we can do some services to help turn this around.
Well, that was my next question. Okay, let's say Jeremy's company has a concerning DOT Safer report. We don't know that, but let's just say if he does. What can he do about that?
Well, first off, stop getting tickets.
Yeah, that would probably be a good one.
It's kind of a simple, quick answer, but it's true. The way the score is set up, if you get a violation, it's weighted on its severity. It's also time-weighted. So a current violation gets more weighting than a violation that's a year old. These scores stay on your record for 2 years. So as an older ticket ages out, the score drops a little bit. They're looking at current trending. Okay?
Yep.
A good inspection helps. If I get a clean inspection roadside, it takes about 2 clean inspections to offset an out-of-service violation. It's kind of just a general rule of thumb.
Okay.
So getting clean inspections, not getting violations, your score will eventually heal itself over time. Getting good inspections helps the score much quicker.
Okay. How about any type of training, and if training would help with him and his drivers or employees, and do you have any success stories with training?
Well, actually, we have quite a few. For instance, most common areas of concern tends to be vehicle maintenance, brakes, tires, and lights. Trucks on the road, they get an inspection, and they got a bald tire, brakes out of adjustment, generates some out-of-service violations. We had a client that actually contacted us. They had a vehicle maintenance score that went to alert status and wanted help. So we actually came out because they were an insured of ours. I was able to come out, and we did driver training and their vehicle mechanic and did training there on helping to do better inspections, both annual inspections and daily vehicle inspections. I really like to get drivers involved in this process because they are half of the equation. An employer, a motor carrier, has to provide a safe vehicle to the driver, but it's the driver's ultimate responsibility to make sure when they leave the yard that that vehicle is in safe condition to be on the road. So really a driver doing a good job with the daily vehicle inspection will catch a lot of these issues and we never put them on the road and get picked up by the DOT. Just getting drivers involved in that process, calling out vehicle issues, getting them fixed in a timely fashion, your scores will heal itself rather quickly.
Can you tell me what happened with that score of the person that?
We went from alert status to extremely single-digit numbers within a year and a half.
Yeah, it's amazing what training will do with employees and drivers, and that goes with not only driving, but that goes with just employee safety in general. So
yes. Now I don't want to take all the credit for that, Tom, because really it was those drivers and that management team that stepped up and did the job and started doing inspections and calling out and making repairs. It's their efforts that turned this around.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Dan, I want to say thank you for joining us today. This was very good information, and I think our listeners will enjoy listening to it. Dan, what is the website for that SAFER report?
Okay, it can be found by Google www.safersys.org, safersys.org. Once you're on that site, select the option for company snapshot.
Okay, well, great. Good information. And if any of the listeners would like to contact us, talk to me about Nationwide and insurance that you do training for, they can call me at 507-377-2000 or email me at insights@americanainsurance.com, and they can also email me any show questions, or they can go to our website at americanainsurance.com. Dan, Paul, great show. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, sir.
Interpretation of regulatory requirements and information provided by Nationwide is not legal advice. Any customer or business owner will need to consult with their legal counsel for advice on their particular circumstances, equipment, and state. This has been a special episode of Insights into Insurance with Americana Insurance's Tom Sorensen.